Okay, so today we have the Grado SR225i open back headphone. This headphone is retails for $250 or around 10,000 pesos locally here in the Philippines. And as you can see, it's an open back headphone with an open design. It comes with this packaging right here. It's very typical of Grado headphones because the packaging is very simple. It comes in this very simple box. You have this very special personalized letter from John, Jonathan, and Matthew Grado, the founders of the company. And then there's this foam here. Other than that, that's really it. It doesn't come with anything else. Now the one that I purchased it with this converter here, so I can play it on a portable device, because the jack of the headphone is this large one, 1/2-inch adapter, so I have to plug this in here so I can use it on a portable device or on my computer. So now let's go back to the headphone itself. The construction is overall look is quite retro, as they say. I like the design of this headphone, but understand that this may not be, the design is not for for everyone, especially for those modern kids out there. The overall construction is simple. You have this leather kind of headband here with no padding at all, and then you have this fairly simple adjustment mechanism right here that adjusts. My one worry here is that this might get loose after some time, but I really haven't experienced that yet. The ear pads are quite are just foam. It's not the most squishy or most not the most luxurious type of ear pad, but for Grado it's really just always the sound. I find it relatively comfortable. I'm not used to this foam pads, but overall it's not uncomfortable to me, although it can take a while before you get used to it if you're more into the typical synthetic leather type of ear pad. So now we're on to the sound of this this headphone. The headphone is a very good sounding headphone. The bass is it's quite I would say it lacks extension. It doesn't have that lowest octave. People say they have mid bass but no sub bass, and I can kind of relate to that. But it's not your typical flabby bass type of thing. I thought the bass in this headphone is tight. It's a bit I would say it's a bit soft, but overall it still qualifies as a tight bass, especially when you compare it to some of the most some closed headphone within the same price range. The mid-range is where this headphone shines, I think. The mid-range is Grado headphones in particular have the distinction of listening to a live concert in the front row, and I can kind of relate to that, as the mids here, especially the upper mids, they're a bit forward, and it really gives you that kind of feeling, especially if you're listening to a live music or a recording wherein it's a live rendition. The treble is very good. It's a little bright, but it has a good amount of air in the treble. If you're from a closed headphone and you switch it to this type of headphone, then you would really appreciate the airiness of this headphone. because of the again it has an open back design, so you would kind of hear the high frequencies better, and the imaging is quite amazing as well, especially for the price. Soundstage is bigger than obviously closed headphones, but the Grado headphones, because of the signature, they tend to be slightly smaller than the real open headphones, like say the Bear DT880s or DT990s, or the some of the more expensive headphones. But if you're again coming from a closed headphone, then you would really appreciate the imaging and the soundstage of this headphone. Now I wanted to touch a bit about the sound that you would get from earpads. They come with this bowl type of pads here. I'm not sure if you can clearly see it. And there's an article over at Inner Fidelity where it says that, you know, or there's a measurement that shows this pad is to some people it means it's a bit shouty, since the upper mid range is forward or accentuated, and I can kind of relate to that on some of the tracks. So with this kind of pads, the only complaint is that it's slightly brighter than what I like, and the mid range can be shouty, and especially if you increase the volume or if you listen to high to a high volume. Now one of the mods, or one of the things that you can do here, is flip it and put it here. So this is what they call the reverse bowl mod. Basically you just flip the pads and put it in, since putting pads in a Grado headphone is very easy. And what it does is it makes it adds bass, it adds a little more bass to it. Doesn't make them tighter, but adds a little more. And the treble or the mid-range becomes, upper mid-range gets reduced somewhat. So for me, I kind of prefer this type of orientation as opposed to the stock bowl pad. It's still airy. The treble still retains its detailed nature, but compared to the bowl pads, this is less shouty in the mid-range, and perhaps the treble, the high frequencies get reduced a little bit, just a little bit. I think you can check Tile's measurements over at Inner Fidelity to to understand what I'm saying here. So overall, I really like these headphones. I think they're good headphones for its price. If you like listening to rock or live music performances, then this headphone is definitely for you. I think I can recommend them. But if you're one of those listeners who hate treble or who hate piercing high frequency, this is not piercing or harsh at all, but if you're not used to that kind of sound, then it may take a while before you get used to it. So that's it. This is again the Grado SR225i from Grado Labs. Thanks for watching.